Hey, we're gonna do a throwback back to 2018 when we used to do a Noob vs. Pro series in real estate. And so that's what we're bringing back as we're traveling to look for real estate for our real estate startup, House Hack. Let's go ahead and start with some Noob vs. Pro tips. And we'll start with the outside. An easy way you can spruce up this front is just paint the garage door. You could do it yourself in a single day probably. It's not gonna cost you any more than like a gallon of paint. And you can see you've got the mismatch of like fingerprints and discoloration over here, even some screws sticking out. Somebody screwed something through the other side. Quick little bit of paint. The Pro knows we can spruce up this curb appeal quickly with 50 bucks and a little bit of labor. The Noob is looking around going, oh, but it's warped. What if I have to replace the whole garage door and it's gonna cost me $1,000 to $2,000? Forget it. Paint and you're good here. What do you think about that, Jack? Good idea? He says good idea. Okay, let's see what we got inside. So inside, the first thing you notice is the way this house is laid out is there's not a lot of overhead lighting. The only set of overhead lighting you have here is this sort of lighting. Most of the newer real estate buyers are going to come and say, we're gonna add can lighting everywhere. We're gonna add all this electrical. And you end up with an electrical invoice of $5,000 just in wiring and circuits, and then they sell you a panel upgrade. In my opinion, the easier thing to do here is brighter paint. These color schemes could be a lot brighter without being white. You don't wanna go hospital white, but look at this nearly mustardy orange that you've got over here. Nice bull nose. You've got like a matte to semi-gloss over here. I prefer flat. It looks a little less rental grade, but a brighter color like an edgecomb gray, big Pro move to really brighten the space up. Obviously it's Arizona. It's 109 or something. Jack, what's the temperature? 100 something? 98, fine. It's almost 100. It's supposed to be 109 later today. And so we keep the windows closed just to keep things nice and cool. So you come into a kitchen like this, a lot of the noobs, and many of you have been watching my channel for a while, you already know this, a lot of the noobs are coming in here saying, we need a whole new kitchen, rip it all out. This is a early 2000s build. This was a 90s style. This 90s style really transitioned into the early 2000s, so pretty common to see this. A lot of people are looking at this going, ew, I don't want these cabinets, especially when you look inside. I hate to say it, but they're kind of gross on the inside. These don't even have the white boxes. They're like a mustard on the inside. I don't even want to use this kitchen. But the actual box, there's no wallpaper in here. The frame, this is a wood frame with a thin veneer in the middle. It's actually good quality stuff. You just need to number the doors, and the Pro's gonna come in, take the hinges off, number the doors, spray paint these all white. Just make sure you use a good wood primer and then a good cabinetry paint. Don't use your regular latex paint. Get a good cabinetry paint on this, and which could end up being latex as well. But like usually you get like a urethane on here, and watch some of my videos. You could type into YouTube, meet Kevin. It's like, I don't know, $300 kitchen remodel or something like that, and I'll show you exactly which products to use. But you could transition this kitchen with a primer coat and maybe a couple coats of color. I'd go for the white, so you'll need 2 white coats. If you go with the gray, you might do 1 coat. But gray's already starting to transition out, and white is just timeless. You also have to consider the top. See, a noob's gonna come in here and go, but Kevin, you know, I want the modern beigey colored cabinets or the gray cabinet or whatever. It's just not gonna work with this top. This top will work with white. I don't think it'll work really well with a gray or a blue. And now you're doing a new top. But then you get somebody who comes in and they want to start rebuilding your island, and now you're spending 10 grand where you should have just spent, you know, less than 1,000, I'll call it $1,000 to repaint the cabinets. Then add some nice hardware, add your personalization like that. Don't overspend. Hey, by the way, if you want to shadow me, we've brought back shadowing. So you can shadow me as we hunt for real estate in House Hack. You get to talk to me as we explore real estate. You get to pick my brain, see what goes on behind the scenes. It's a great experience. And if you're looking to get into real estate, diversify your investments, learn, pick my brain about something else, now's the time to check that out. Link down below. The last time we sold out so quickly, we had to shut it down for like 3 months just to catch our breath. Check out the link down below, right next to the link for the courses. Over here, same thing with that overhead lighting, but again, a paint scheme change will help. Possibly even a floor, because what we have here is an older ceramic tile with the darker grout lines. It's giving you a little bit more of that dated look. You can really transform this property with just paint and flooring. It's probably the extent that I would go here. So looking at, same thing with all the cabinets, by the way. Bathrooms, You come in, you got some stains on the carpet. I'm actually a big fan of buying places with stains in the carpet and kind of some musty carpet smell. You know, the noob comes in here and does the usual, oh, it's a nasty carpet, the kitchen's nasty, and there's, you know, there are fingerprints on the walls and the garage door is dirty. And, you know, you come over to the bathroom, for example, and you get the typical sort of mildew around the edges of the shower. And so what happens is people see this crusty stuff, right? They see the crust around the shower door. They see the mildew along the inside of the fiberglass frame. I mean, look at it. You got so much mildew, it's peeling off right here. It's not a big deal though. This is all easily cleanable, either cleanable, you could glaze it. Quite frankly, somebody with bleach and a good scrubber can really clean up the shower a lot. You've got the hard water stains on here. The noob's coming in here doing a new kitchen, new bathrooms, and they're spending 50 grand. The pros coming in here going, hey, I got a 10 grand budget for paint and maybe some miscellaneous new light fixtures and cleaning up the bathroom. Maybe call it another 8 for flooring and baseboards, and you're putting 18 in, where the noob's putting in something like 50, and you're up. You know, you got the same potential value play. So the other thing to consider as well is a lot of sellers and homeowners, they don't realize this, but they start putting in these over improvements into properties. I'm going to show you a fantastic over improvement now that really you have to be a noob to install in your house. But for some people, it makes sense. I'll tell you whom it makes sense for. If you're making more than $250,000 a year and your income taxes are so high and you want to offset some of your high electricity bill and you've got a $300-$400 electricity bill or more, maybe this makes sense. Maybe what I'm about to show you makes sense. But beyond what I just said, it doesn't make sense for you to make this improvement, certainly not for most people. So what do we have? Well, of course, it is a whole Tesla solar system. Now, I understand I'm not showing you the solar panels. Those are on the roof and it's really hot even in here. But this is delicious. Each of these has a value of about 15 grand, maybe with about a 30% tax credit. That's about $30,000 that I'm looking at here. This is a Square D backup load center. This was an extra. So you're at, 15. This was probably a couple $1,000. Square D is an expensive brand. You've got the arc fault breakers. You got 3 arc faults over here. This is a 100 amp sub panel. You're gonna probably have an upgraded main as well. Hey, Jack? Hey, can you open the garage for me? And we'll see if they also updated the electrical panel out here. Usually they do. That top button there, right above your hand there. Yeah, push it. Cool, thanks, man. So usually, you're putting in another 5 to 10 grand of electrical work. It's not just the cost of these batteries, but then it's also the cost of the panels. Some homeowner here spent $50,000, $60,000 probably on the solar panel system that they threw in. I mean, look at this. Look at all these disconnects. I don't even know why I have these 2 electrical meters. Maybe that's something they do out here in Arizona. I've got like 3 electrical meters. My goodness. That's almost like 1 per battery and then your main house here. I don't know. I'll get the answer to that when I talk to the agents here. But, this panel is actually original, which is fine. So you've got your original panel here. And it looks like what they did is they basically abandoned everything and took your 200 amp panel, sized it down to a 100 amp main that is now in the garage. So the entire house is battery backed up with a massive solar panel system up there. I mean, this is amazing. This is really good. So the problem for the seller, and this is the noob part, the seller may have spent 50 grand. The comps in the neighborhood for this house are $480,000. This house is listed for $525. So what they're probably doing is they're going, okay, 480 plus my solar panel system. They're not gonna get it. Maybe they'll get an extra 5 grand. So whoever buys this house is probably getting a 90% discount on that solar panel system, assuming it's fully paid for. That is a fantastic deal for a home buyer. So if I were ever a home buyer, the type of home that I would want to buy is one that has all these crazy upgrades that they're not going to get comp value for, and then has the, old kitchen cabinets, the stained carpet, the gold or brass or whatever hardware. These are simple things to change. The pro comes in here and says, I'm not paying for the panels, even though that's the most important stuff, and I want a discount because the condition's bad, you know, the carpet's not stretched anymore, the paint's old, you got stains over here. You know, these are all the things that send the home buyers away. Meanwhile, the investor's like, this is the easy stuff. So those are some Noob versus Pro hacks here. Let's look outside. Now, you do have a pool here. So this is market dependent, and the pro knows this is market dependent. If you're in a market where you're not getting extra rent for a pool, you don't want a pool. But if you're in a market where you can hopefully cover not just the cost of servicing the pool, which this one needs a little love, but also maybe make some extra profit on it. In a market especially like Arizona, where, Jack, it's got to be over 100 now. What's our temperature update, Mr. Jack? No temperature update. Darn it, it's still 98. Okay, it feels warmer. But anyway, because we just came from 55 degrees in Cali, but we flew in for the day. So, look, this is great because it's going to keep a tenant here longer, assuming it's maintained properly. And again, this is where a seller is probably not going to get the full value for what it would have cost to put this pool in. If this was, let's say, a 30 grand pool to put in with the fountains and that they have, maybe we'd give them 10 to 15 on a comp basis. So easy improvements that a pro is going to make here, and really a lot of mistakes that a noob could make. I'm not the biggest fan of what they did here with the spray foam insulation under the French door. I'd like to clean that up with some kind of molding or you know, think of something for that. But it's stuff like that that really bothers home buyers. They're like, oh, it's just crusty around the edges or whatever, but it's so inexpensive for a pro to handle. We've got the newer can lights out here. This is actually nice. You got smoother stucco here, but you do have some water stains here. So you want to check the roof there, although, you know, and that's the other thing is like when it rains in Arizona, it rains. And then their AC is a little bit on the older side. Here, I'll close this door for a sec out of respect for them. See, even just the crusty paint and all that. We'll sneak over to the air conditioner here and take a quick glance at what we got here. We also still have the original windows of the property. Some people have already upgraded from these, but they're dual pane. They'll be okay. So you could tell this sucker's probably OG. So we're getting to the probably point where one of these guys might die on you in a summer coming up. Sometimes you could find a manufacture date on them. Sometimes it's a little harder to find. I can't seem to find one now, but it's not the biggest deal. It's at that point where I would probably be having it serviced regularly. Honestly, you probably have to do that anyway, wherever you are in Arizona. Also, as a pro, before I would rent this property out, I would make sure that stuff like this stops happening. So you've got rust appearing at the bottom edge of the property here. I want to know what's causing that, because it's very strange that almost feels like it's your master bathroom. And that's not good, because I can't imagine it's these pumps that are flooding out causing this. But then again, they have that pump on some kind of weird marble slab, which implies that maybe they've had to mess with it at some point in the past. So there's something going on there that I don't like. I'd like to investigate that. This I would get rid of. I do not want to incentivize my tenants to do this stuff. I get it. It's cool as a homeowner. I'm a big fan of growing tomatoes and stuff like that too, but I don't want my tenants doing it. They don't take care of it. Rats come, it's a disaster. So let's quickly look at the other side. See, there's a clean out right there. There's your clean out probably for that bathroom. And the stains are just past that clean out. So let's go investigate as a pro should do what's going on in that bathroom. So as expected, here's our bathroom, and it appeared that the clean out would have been somewhere here, so maybe it's even the other bathroom, one over. But let's see if we have any secrets here. I mean, I see some staining, but nothing that would imply so much damage over there, at least not in this cabinet. If I hop over to this, just sort of your normal kind of dripping under the sink basin. So nothing abnormal here, but why you're getting all that rusting on the foundation? It's almost as if either water's sitting out there or something's happening. But no bathroom here. Yeah, your next bathroom isn't until here. So it's something I would talk to. I'm not going to put much faith in the homeowner on because they probably have no idea. It probably has to do with pool equipment. So what I would do is I would talk to the person who's been maintaining this pool and then get a full history on that pool equipment. it's probably the pool equipment and occurring from the outside, which makes sense because quite frankly, water leaking from the inside and rusting all the way through would be a severe water problem, and that is not indicative of that. So that's coming from the outside. So they just had problems with the pool equipment. It doesn't surprise me with how old the AC is, but you know, I mean, the thing this place has is those solar panels, and that could be kind of a nice free upgrade. So Jack, what do you think about the house?
I don't really like the pool.
You don't like the pool? Is it too small for you? Yeah, of course it is. If it were bigger, it'd be okay?
And a little bit nicer.
A little nicer? Like some new paint and flooring? Yeah. Anything else? No? Thanks, man. Thanks for joining a house hack video. So by the way, if you want to join us to shadow us as we explore real estate, click the link down below. You can now shadow us again right next to the link for the courses where I give you all my perspective on building your wealth. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video.